Sarah?
So there's this guy, Gil Lecourse, who loves making windows and high quality products. He takes over a company that he grew up working with. He is very personal and talks with the employees, asks for their inputs, and puts quality over everything else.
Okay.
But then he decides to go global, and he gives a lot of shares to this other company that doesn't care as much about quality, but more about inventory and meeting the quotas. So the team becomes really not what's the opposite of motivated? Unmotivated? Unmotivated. Demotivated. And the quality of the work really goes down.
Okay. So essentially we have a company that was working in a certain way. They were kind of on a small scale, and then all of a sudden another company acquired a part of them to help them go global. And we have issues. The first question in the case is asking you to identify some of the key issues, or how is it?
Symptoms indicate.
Identify the symptoms that kind of point out that there's a problem in the company. So what are some things that you notice based on reading of the case that you would identify as symptoms where something has gone wrong in the organization? Yeah.
There was a lack of communication from like the supervisor and the employees.
Okay, and that's when the new vice president kind of came in, who was staying in his office and not actually communicating with them quite a bit. So all of a sudden, you know, when the original guy, the founder, is no longer there because he's on the road, that relational aspect was gone. Okay, other stuff, other symptoms that things were going badly in the organization?
If you have the employees quit because they didn't want to
So we
work.
started noticing some turnover. Okay, other stuff, other symptoms that tell us something is going wrong.
Lower quality. And
Lower
this,
quality. How would you give evidence of that?
there were a lot of returns.
A lot of returns, right? They did reduce costs by 10%, but there were a lot of returns of windows. Other symptoms that you might put? Yeah.
Workers are showing because they're
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So they talked about how kind of because they were local, like they were in an area where not much other job opportunities were available. The only reason why not more people quit was just because they didn't have any other options, right? So they're not staying because they love the work environment anymore. Morale was low actually, and they stayed because they just need a job.
Just to add to that, we have what we talked about today, where we have job satisfaction, and we kind of touched on it previously, is where if you have, if your morals, like the employee morals, match what the business stands for, then you have that conflict there that may have been helpful.
Okay, great. And here it might not be necessarily moral, but it's more so kind of like what they value, what they prioritize. So they've been brought up in this company where they're supposed to value quality, and all of a sudden they're being told, oh, it's the other way around, right? So I think they gave an example whereas in the past, some of these scraps they were using and producing would have been thrown out. Now that new company is saying, no, you don't waste. We actually use every single bit of whatever scraps we have, even if it jeopardizes quality, right? So you could argue that, yeah, that is kind of weakening your values or making you question kind of the alignment between your values and what the company stands for, right? So yeah, good points. Any other things that we did not mention in terms of things going wrong in the company? Okay, moving on to the second question. That is now telling you to take a leadership theory that you think is relevant, okay, that would help show us how things are going wrong or why this company is flopping all of a sudden. So using leadership theories that you think are relevant. So A, tell me which leadership theory you think is relevant, and B, lay it out. How would you explain it? Sarah?
I think Pat will really describe it.
Okay.
Because they have to take in consideration the employees, the way they were doing the work, as well as the situation that, well, the company doesn't really have a good inventory, and they had to decide in between to have a leadership style that goes well with both, but they just decided to navigate and focus on one part instead of the other.
Okay, so you're saying that they only focused on the situational characteristics, they only kind of thought about the environment of like we need to cut costs and the business side of things, but they completely ignored employee contingencies. Okay? And so their leader behaviors, so what leader behaviors would you say that new person or the new organization was exhibiting? Because Lacroix, he's on the road now, so they're dealing with that new VP who's there on a more daily basis. So what behaviors would you say he was showing that did not align with the situation and the employee, and only aligned with the situation?
There were a lot of like directive behaviors,
Okay.
so just communicating with emails and
Yeah.
memos and not taking their advices,
Okay.
completely introducing new people.
Yeah. So some key elements that you do need to kind of mention when you're applying path goal theory is you're essentially saying that the new leadership did not align their behaviors with what the situation and the employees called for. The new leader only focused on catering to the new environment or the new situation, ignoring employee contingencies. Okay? And the things that they exhibited, or the behaviors that they exhibited the most were directive, when actually, given our history in this company, the employees were used to supportive behaviors, they were used to participative behaviors, and it was clear that that was no longer the case. This VP comes in, and he's only being directive, not giving any attention to employee contingencies. And therefore, we see the flopping of job satisfaction, motivation, and employees were not even building that good of a rapport with the leader, with the leader himself. Okay? So that's how you want to make sure that you're arguing for all these points. Don't just talk about the situational factors of path goal theory. You want to make sure that you're bringing in all the different elements.
I kind of completely agree with Zara, but just to add to it, something I just kind of thought about while you were talking about the classwork that we just started. The first aspect,
Okay.
because he omitted the fact, not omitted, but because there was a lack of charisma and the enthusiasm to participate in the organization, I think that also had a pretty big factor onto why they didn't react as well.
Yeah. So, right, he didn't have any face-to-face time with these employees. These employees were used to someone kind of, they talk about how he came and sat, like the other guy who came and sat with them, brought them donuts and coffee every night. You could argue that kind of that showed a lack of charisma, and that he was not somebody who was interested in who the people are. Sorry?
He just wanted to make money.
Yeah, he was just interested he was very managerial in his style. He exhibited lots of managerial leadership styles, and that was not enough to kind of move forward. Any other theories that you might bring in? Or I would say path goal is your critical one here, right? Emphasizing that there was a lot of directive behaviors that did not truly align with the needs of the situation and the employees. It only perhaps aligned with the situation, but not even greatly so, and not jeopardized achieving those final positive outcomes. You could buff up your questions by talking about, charisma, he lacked charisma. So you could bring in different perspectives. You could say, like, he lacked charisma, he emphasized the managerial style when they were at a time of change and some transformational leadership was needed. Only reason why path goal theory is a stronger model to use and it's a stronger framework to use is because path goal theory tells you exactly what outcomes are jeopardized. Whereas, given that you guys are not researchers and you don't have access to so many articles when you're in an exam, you could argue that, okay, he was not being charismatic, but you don't have the evidence to give me for why lack of charismatic leadership did not generate positive outcomes. It'll be a shorter argument. You could add it onto the path goal one. And say the path goal, think strategically. You're going to want to buff up your answer as much as possible. So path goal theory of leadership gives you a lot of material to work with. Be strategic. Okay? It's not to say that the others are wrong, but you might struggle in making a good case for yourself. So be strategic about it. Other thoughts, questions about the case?